that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many claim is that college is a
Very happy life and gets away from you.
My next claim is that college is a scam. Hello.
Hello, hello.
What's your name?
I'm Maddox. How are you doing?
Good.
So, college is a scam.
Well, let's define our terms. College being traditional four-year college.
Of course.
University, not community college or technical college.
Of course.
A scam, if we can agree on a definition, is where a majority of people who will go through the institution or business, they're not getting their money's worth, their time's worth, and they're being deceived when they sign up. So do we agree on those terms?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Well, what would further definitions, what do you think is the purpose of going to college?
The purpose of college should be a traditional liberal arts education, pursuit of what is good, true, and beautiful.
Okay.
That's not what it is. It should be the betterment of yourself and your soul, nurturing your character and becoming a better citizen, understanding the deeper things in life. At the very least, though, it should be preparing one for the job market. Do you think college does those things?
I think it does, but I would add on to your point that I think not only is it for the betterment of yourself, but it's for the betterment of society. We need historians. We need certain majors that may not make as much money. I think those are for the betterment of society. Would you agree that there's some majors that
Absolutely. There are certain functions in our society that are performed by a number of people, and the going rate for the types of knowledge and services that those people provide happens to be lower, and that would just be supply and demand. So totally can concede on that.
may not make money, but are still essential to society?
It depends. Do you think that getting a degree in gender studies is good for society?
I would agree, yeah. Why would studying gender not be good for society?
Well, learning that men can give birth is not exactly a good use of time, is it?
Is that what they're teaching in college right now?
A lot of colleges, yeah. According to
Yeah, what else would someone who's majoring in gender studies be talking about for their entire degree? That's 4 years of going to school many hours a day and then doing coursework many hours a day related to the individual classes. So I can't imagine that you could go much more in depth than what Charlie just brought up.
to the Center for Disease Control, they no longer say women can give birth, they say birthing persons.
Okay.
Do you think men can give birth?
Do I think men can give birth? I think that
Yes or no question?
I think that a person who is assigned male at birth, I don't think they can give
Assigned
birth.
male at birth, so people are not male at birth?
I think that a person...
See, you're evident.
We didn't start having these types of arguments until what seems to be just a few years ago. Has anyone else noticed that? 10 years ago, it was absolutely ridiculous to claim something like this, but I don't even remember anyone claiming or using that phrase, assigned female or male at birth, or that men can give birth. So it does make you wonder what actually happened specifically to create this pivot in our society where all of a sudden so many people have started to take on this new ideology that is completely conflicting with reality.
Evidence that college is a scam, my friend.
College is a scam?
You're lacking in a lot of
Well,
wisdom.
here, we can continue right now. So gender studies, do you think that studying gender is not essential? Should we not deepen our understanding
well, first of all,
of gender?
I don't think gender, we're going to get there later. I don't think gender exists. I think that there are two sexes, infinite personalities, and no genders. However, let's get back to the core contention.
Well, here, can I ask my question again real quick?
Well,
why do you think...
I'm going to get back to my core contention. A scam. So the majority of kids that go to college, if they end up getting a job at all, they end up getting a job that does not require a college degree.
Do you think that certain jobs that may not associate with a direct major can incorporate skills that you learn from a major? I think I'm an econ major, and depending on what job I
was an econ major too, so this is interesting.
do in the future, I can still use the skills learned from that.
So tell me about Milton Friedman.
Tell me about Milton Friedman. He is an economist from...
How about Thomas Sowell?
Thomas Sowell.
Ludwig von Mises.
Well, I will say that I'm a first year.
How about
There's another clip of Charlie where he asked those same questions to a smug college leftist, and the student claims that Charlie couldn't possibly know anything about economics because he didn't go to college.
I'd love to see you answer the gender studies question.
We will get there later. That's what psychedelics are for. Who's next?
Well, I think it's difficult to think about just one major, thinking about just gender studies. Like, sure, like not everyone should be a gender studies major. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need everything. However, why does it matter if 10 people want to be a gender studies major and it matters to them? Like, not everyone can be a lawyer, not everyone can be a doctor. There needs to be some people. And you know what? Yeah, it sucks that some people do go to college and get a degree and then they end up not in a workforce for that. But I don't think that has to do with like college was a scam. It's more like, maybe that just wasn't the path for them, or that life choice was just too hard to get for them. But some people are able to go to college and get a degree and use it. And that is super important, because imagine if no doctors went to college, they're just like, I think I can do it.
Well, of course,
like,
doctors and lawyers need credentialing, right? But
so college.
Well, less than 5% of all people that go to college end up studying medicine or in legal. The vast majority go into soft social sciences, communications, or the humanities. So you're in college, or have been, is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you forced to take classes that you think are a waste of time?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
You know what?
Hold on. So they're taking your money and they're forcing you that they're a waste of time. That's kind of scammy, right?
Oh, I think that some classes.
Ooh, some. So you have to probably go in debt, right?
Depends.
Okay. Are you going into debt?
No.
Okay, well, that's good.
I picked a school that actually offered me a scholarship.
Oh, so someone else is paying.
Wonderful. She got a scholarship, so someone else's money, and I guess she was smart enough, or she was able to. I think the problem with this is that even if someone accepts that they have to take some classes that are a scam, they might not even end up paying for it themselves, because we have a president in office right now who wants to take taxpayer money and just hand it out to students because they happen to be in debt for the colleges that they voluntarily chose to go to.
That was good. Oh, I don't know. Depends on me. I mean, that's a school that wanted to give me an opportunity, but that's not what we're talking about.
Well, we're talking about the scam element, right? So you said that there are some classes that if students had to go into debt or had to pay for, would not be a good use of their time. So it's not representing students well.
Well, do you think like high school is a scam then? Because I had to pay for high school, but I didn't use AP US history in my.
She had to pay for high school? Most people do not have to pay for high school.
Psychology degree ever.
Well, I think AP US history is actually a really good use of time, knowing about your country and your history. And
but I'm not going to use that in my career. That's what we're talking about in the career path.
Maybe she meant she had to pay for the AP tests.
For college.
Let's go back to what I said, right? We said traditional college, right? 4-year college. And what a scam is, or a majority of the people that will go through the enterprise, the business.
Something that I've noticed is Charlie has to continue bringing it back to the original claim, because the arguments get so far removed from what the original claim was. They're so unfocused, and a lot of these claims aren't claims that really have to be proven very well at all, because partially they're just obvious. And so if you get Charlie Kirk debating someone as good at debate as Charlie Kirk, then who knows, the argument might be over in a few seconds, because the claim is very simple, and ultimately some of these things, it's not a matter of opinion. It might just be there's a true position and there's a false position. But I've noticed that these students in particular tend to remove themselves very far away from the original claim that it always has to be reeled back in.
Business or the institution are not getting their time worth or their money worth. So therefore, I go back to my core contention, which is a majority of kids that exit college will not use their degree at all when they go to find a job.
But if you ask them, do you think college was a scam? I don't think majority of them are going to say yes. Some of them will. Some of them are going to
not everyone who's being scammed actively knows they're being scammed. People still buy erectile dysfunction drugs off the internet, and they get scammed.
Okay, that's their own personal choice, though.
Of course, people have choices to be scammed. I'm not saying they don't have a choice. I'm making an observation.
It's funny that she would bring up that people have the personal choice or make the personal choice to attend college, but with the abortion conversation, people in her position or people with her position would claim that everyone's being forced to do all of these terrible things, when it goes back to the fact that everyone does have their individual choice. And so it's very interesting that they will argue something when it suits them, but they are inconsistent.
Analysis of the institution. For example, flying Spirit Airlines, kind of a scam.
Okay.
Should be shut down. There is some.
And in order for me to be consistent, I do agree that it is someone's personal choice to attend college. And so even though I can agree that college is mostly a scam in maybe the vast majority of cases, I also agree that people make the personal decision to take out debt, and it is 100% their responsibility to pay that off. And people have talked about, that the university should pay for student debt because they're the beneficiaries of the scam, or taxpayers should pay. But really, ultimately, if you sign a contract, it's your responsibility. Make a choice that doesn't lead to a lot of debt.
Yep, kind of agree. There are some things in life we have to take a step back and the consumer is not being well served.
You want to shut down a bunch of majors in colleges that you think are scams?
No, I never said that.
So what would your proposal be to fix the scam of college?
There is no proposal. The contention is college is a scam.
So then what's the point of that statement?
To get you to agree.
But what would that do? What do you want to fix in college?
No.
People would choose to not go if they don't think that it's worth the investment. It's simple as that. She's the one who brought up personal choice.
That's going to help it not be a scam.
We can get to step interval 2 as long as you can agree that college is a scam.
No, because not for everyone. For me, I'm using a degree that's going to help people make better.
What are you studying?
Psychology and criminal justice.
Okay. So, and it's being paid for by somebody else, which is fine. That's good. So psychology and criminal justice. Do you absolutely need to get a degree to be able to get into this? You do?
Yeah, I could, I guess, study it all on my own, but it's just makes more sense to go and have all these experiences. I'm getting wonderful experiences, internships all through my college.
So
that's helping me go through it. No, it's just that this is a pathway that's really helping me.
So there's.
Sure. So college certainly facilitates learning. You could do it on your own. You could gain all the same knowledge or education on your own as you could in a college setting. But most people probably function better and are able to learn in that setting. But actually, there's a lot of different ways that people can learn knowledge or skills. And so
there's 11 million jobs open in the country right now that don't require a college degree.
Okay, then the people who want those jobs can go get those jobs. I'm not one of those people.
Do you think we push too many kids into college?
No.
Okay, so the national graduation rate is 59%. If I asked the room, everyone would.
She's mad at him for his opinion, or his claim that college is a scam. She doesn't need to be mad. She just needs to. Well, the whole point is to prove that it's not a scam. So she seems very emotionally involved and is trying to be maybe personally offended by what he's saying. And that makes it so that the argument doesn't really go anywhere.
But agree that they know some people that went to college that did not graduate.
Yeah.
Right? So we're probably sending too many kids into this institution.
But if they might have been able to do it, then why is it not worth it to try and to push yourself to get a better education and go further in your life?
That's a bad thing, right?
But some people are able to work through that. And it's an opportunity thing.
But when an institution is multi-trillion dollars in scale, involves 23 million of our citizens every 4 years, and is not actually bettering the country. For example, if college was so great, we would see incomes going up for Gen Z and millennials. We'd see more people able to own homes.
Okay.
Kids wouldn't. I'm telling you, this is so ableist what you're doing, by the way. I'm telling you, right? Hello, what's your name?
Alize.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so let me start by saying, well, first of all, you said we're sending too many kids to college. Who's sending them? Who's forcing them?
Guidance counselors, parents, community.
No one's forcing them. It's a personal choice.
Are they forcing them? Are they signing them up themselves?
Forcing. I never said forcing, but you can have.
But again, if they're choosing to go, then they're also choosing to pay.
nudging and
Okay.
forcing are two different things. We also subsidize college through the federal government. So you guys get subsidized interest rates,
Right.
scholarships, and loans. So the taxpayer is.
I think that loans and grants should all just be totally done away with, because we all know that the cost of college just goes up kind of in lockstep with the subsidy.
Nudging students and gently and sometimes forcibly pushing them into college. And you would agree it is an expectation if you grow up in a upper middle class home to go to college. You would agree with that. So there's a societal cultural push.
I didn't grow up in an upper middle class. So.
Okay, well, but would you see it from there? Would you see how that argument is correct?
I guess there might be a pressure, but no one's sending them. You're sending yourself.
Well, of course.
Or we're all over the age of 18, right?
Right.
When you're in college, so you're sending yourself.
Right.
Oh man, she's making my argument for me. I don't think that she realizes that she also must not be in support of student debt relief. Be very curious what her position on that is.
But that's besides the
But
point.
let's be honest. I mean, that's a silly argument. But yes, they're technically sending themselves. I was just at Arizona State University move-in. Everyone had their parents there. They were co-signing on loans. They were there helping pay for stuff. Parents, the ones that are still checking in. They're the ones that largely subsidize their lifestyle. Hey, mom, can you Venmo me $3,000 so that I can go out on an extra night? Yes, of course, when you're 18 years old, you're the one signing on the dotted line. But there's enormous pressure and nudging and cultural expectation that students go to college.
Right. Okay. I think the problem here is that it's up to the person. You can't just go to college and expect to come out with a degree. You have to put the work in. You have to put the work in. You have to make connections. And some people might think college is just 4 years of partying and drinking and making friends, whatever. But you have to actually put the work in. And if you put the work in, you make connections, and you can find a job right outside of college.
Well, no, not doubting that you can't find a job. It's just that 52% of them get a job that doesn't require them to get the degree.
But most jobs offer incentive pay if you have a degree. And 86% of people with a degree get paid more than people with just a high school diploma.
That's only if you count the ones at the top 10% of income earners. So,
and even if that's true, the student still has to pay for their college. And so just because you have money or make a certain amount of money doesn't mean you have a certain amount of money, because your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. So you can make a lot of money, but if you have a lot of expenses, then you don't have a lot left over. And that is why there is a lot of scamminess to this.
So not if you count humanities, not if you count people that study in the social sciences. If you count medicine or you count law, that's absolutely correct. However, the vast majority of kids that go to college are not studying medicine, law, engineering, business, finance. They're studying communications, social sciences, or humanities, which are on the lower income ladder. So as I mentioned, we have 11 million job openings in this country right now that do not require a college degree. I'm guessing in this room that within 4 to 5 years, you guys would kill to be able to earn $80 to $100,000 a year. Yes? Do you know that in states across the country and in cities, they're offering apprenticeships to become plumbers and welders, electricians? That doesn't require for your college degree. Entrance salary, $80,000 a year.
But again, 86% of people with a bachelor's degree earn more than people with a high school diploma. No, 86% of all people with a bachelor's degree.
But if you take out the top 10%, it's actually lower than those that don't go to college. So the reason that number, that average goes up, is because the doctors and the engineers and the lawyers are the ones that bring that average so significantly up. But let me ask you a question. Do you think that there's any waste at all in the current college model?
Do I think there's any waste? I don't think we need all of it.
Okay, good. What part?
Well, you have to start with your core classes, and it's like high school. You're taking the same classes in high school.
So do you think, like, for example, do you think that... Okay, nice to meet you. Thank you.
I'm Emily. Nice to meet you.
Emily. Thank you.
Earlier said that about 5% of college students are going into fields of like medicine, law, and engineering. Let
me clarify.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
As far as they're going to be able to get postgraduate degrees. So they will go all the way up and get their Juris Master, or they will end up passing the bar or becoming a doctor, right?
Okay.
So it's easy to say doctors, lawyers, but healthcare professionals, if you count nurses or people that work in healthcare, that number is closer to 20-25%.
Okay, so 5%. Who here has a doctor? Can you like raise your hand if you have a doctor?
Like a medical
doctor? Yeah. Like a medical doctor. Yeah, you do. Okay. 5% is still a lot of people, right?
Charlie is so calm because he doesn't know what's going to come next, or maybe he can anticipate what she's about to say, but he's just so able to whip out these responses so quickly and in such a well thought out manner, because he does this all the time.
Of course, but
Yeah.
that means 95% might not need to exist at the institution.
I don't think that's the takeaway. Just because 5%, which is still millions of Americans
Wait,
all
hold on a
across the
second.
board.
But if you were to say, hey, we only have medical schools, only have legal, we can get rid of gender studies, get rid of. So what's the contention?
Well, gender studies is actually, if you look on like the pre-law track, gender studies is a pre-law track. If you're going to be a lawyer, you have to study gender studies and other social
That proves
cultural
my
studies.
point that college is a scam.
Why?
Why would a lawyer need to study gender studies? Shouldn't a lawyer know the law?
It's a social science. The law, you think the law isn't inadvertently affected by social, cultural, and gender norms?
Of course it is, but shouldn't they first know the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Federalist Papers?
We learned that in high school.
Okay, so what is Marbury versus Madison?
I haven't been in high school for a long time. I'm not trying to be a lawyer. Yeah.
So
high schools are like, it's public high school.
What was Brown versus the Board of Education?
That's for desegregating schools.
Okay, good.
Yeah, which Project 2025 wants to like defund the Department of Education.
Who wrote the Constitution?
Founding Fathers, 1778. I don't know.
It wasn't 1778.
I don't know. Yeah.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. Well, this is the point: is that you don't learn it in high school. You don't even learn it in undergraduate, and our law school's not learning it. So maybe.
Well, I'm not in law school.
No, the point is that you were saying they already learned it, and they don't. I don't want this to be a pop quiz or trivia. I didn't go to college, and I'm asking you very basic civic questions, and you're paying to go to college, and you can't answer them.
That's so fair, but I think.
Thank you. Sorry.
I have a question. Is church a scam?
No, because church is honoring the divine and the eternal and the good and the true and the beautiful. Is college?
But it deceives people because you give a promise of everlasting life, which you don't actually get because Christianity is contradictory, logically speaking.
Do you want to get into a theological debate, or are we going to talk about college? Because I completely disagree.
I bet that young man doesn't think twice when he says that this is the year 2024. And I even posed this point on social media, and I said, it's the year of our Lord 2024, and lots of people believe that. Every single person I know calls this the year 2024, and that's not even a reason to believe that Jesus Christ is the Savior. It's just to show that Jesus Christ actually existed, because if he didn't, then I don't really know how we would have collectively decided that this was the year 2024. And so since I do think that it is evidence that enough people were able to believe that he existed, and then obviously like based time on his birth, goes to support the fact that he actually did exist. And if he did exist, and the Bible is the primary record of his existence, then perhaps the other things in the Bible also did happen. Again, I'm not saying that because one thing is true, that all of it has to be true, but at the same time, it's kind of a huge lie to tell, and also a huge lie to believe if the things in the Bible really didn't happen. And it's so funny that they use the Bible in their argument when they themselves don't even claim to believe it, but they love being smug about this.
Agree, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and we will have eternal life.
Okay, so how, if there is a perfect being that created the world, how could we exist in an imperfect world?
I'm happy to have this discussion. Can we go back to college, though? Because because that's a little bit of a red herring and a little bit of a rabbit hole. Tell me what that has to do with college being a scam.
This guy's entertaining, but I really want to hear from someone that we haven't heard from before.
Well, I do think college can be a scam for certain people. I don't think it's a scam for everyone.
We agree.
So for people like me, college was very beneficial for me.
For sure. Who is it a scam?
I'm asking you, based on your definition of a scam, do you consider the Christian church a scam?
Of course not. It's giving people eternal life and teaches them goodness.
But if Christianity is false, then that's a deception.
Okay, but you think it's false. I don't. We can agree to disagree. Also,
today in church, in Sunday school, we were talking about how to believe in the gospel more, and how to trust it and to not have doubt. And I suggested, praying and reading your scriptures more whenever you have doubt. And so people like this, I think the doubt that they display shows that they're not doing the things that they should be doing to kind of test out whether or not the gospel of Jesus Christ is true, or if someone's not a Christian but they still believe in God. They're not doing the things that you should do if you want to test out whether or not those things are true.
I'm not agreeing to disagree on that.
But we're not talking about the church. We're talking about college, right? So again, also people are not paying to go to church, are
but
they?
it's a reductio ad absurdum. Do you know what that is?
Ask the question.
What's a reductio ad absurdum?
That's a Latin term that means reducing down to the lowest common belief, correct?
Yeah, so I'm taking
Am I right? I didn't go to college. I knew that.
I'm taking your particular position.
Let me ask you a question without you interrupting me. Do you pay to go to church?
No, I don't. Some people do.
On.
They're forced to pay based upon their particular denomination.
And today, do you pay to go to church?
Depending on the church.
No, you don't. Do you have to go to debt to go to church?
In some circumstances, people do, because they have to give up 10% of their income to be able to do that, which people can't afford.
Circumstance?
Well, they're LDS. You understand that a lot of LDS churches specifically require 10%.
Yeah, they don't require it.
Okay, so I am LDS. It's so funny that he said a lot of LDS churches. No, the LDS church does have the principle or the commandment of tithing. No, you don't have to pay the tithing in order to enter church. You can come to church anytime, and you are not asked for a fee to enter. And he said people can't afford it. I say you can't afford not to pay your tithing.
And what you're talking about
in plenty of places.
Well, you're asking mainline Christian.
Isn't there stigmatization
belief.
if you don't do that?
Okay, you're good at interrupting, not good at answering.
Well, you haven't answered any of my questions yet.
I did say no. Church is not a scam. Church is the bride of Christ. College is a scam, and college is people are going into debt. They're paying a lot of money. But I want to ask you a question. You said it's a scam for some people. Who's it a scam for?
Yeah, for people who specifically aren't ever going to use it, never use any of the knowledge that they receive from it. Well, you say 52%. I don't think you can qualify 52% of people don't do that.
What number would you say?
For example, my job, that's not going to be recommended as an economics degree. Most economics majors are going to go into TikTok debating online. But I use the information that I learned in college in my job on a daily basis. So I still use relevant qualities that are then used in my job later on.
What percentage of kids that go to college are being scammed?
I don't think anyone knows that, because it's dependent upon an individual. I have no clue.
Shouldn't we try to find out?
Well, if you'd like to find some empirics on that, I'd love to see it.
I just did. So 41%.
That's not a source.
Well, the Department of Education is a source.
No, the Department of Education doesn't say 41% of people it was a scam for, or that they didn't use any of the information they learned in college.
You are using.
So are you saying none of them used any of the information?
Can I say 3 words without you interrupting me?
Do any of them use the information
4?
later on?
Can I say 5 words without interrupting
me? Well, you've
me?
interrupted me multiple times.
So since you say college is a scam for some people, it's a ballpark. For the kids that do not graduate, 41% that ended up going and not graduating, were they scammed?
No, just because you go and pay for a particular thing, but then you don't follow through with it, doesn't mean you were scammed.
Maybe they were misled.
You decided to pay for it. Oh, you could say some people are misled. Some people are stigmatized into these things.
Do you think that
some people are misled in the church? And you never answered my question on that, because you're trying to take that time down so that you don't have to answer the question.
Again, how is church relevant to the statement college is a scam? He may have learned something in his econ degree, but I don't think that that's something is helping him to debate well.
What about Christianity? Because you know your worldview looks terrible.
Well, what about Christianity do you want me to answer? We're talking
I think it's false. Or because I was saying, is church a scam? If church is a scam, that'd be predicated off of the idea that you're deceived into believing that there's everlasting life,
but you believe
Christianity.
That, again,
so Christianity has to be true. So can you grant that? What's the argument?
Christianity is true. What's
the argument?
You're going to let me finish 3 words in a row?
Appreciate it.
Okay. Did the resurrection happen?
I don't think the resurrection occurred.
Okay. I disagree.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. A perfect creator, is it possible for them to not desire something imperfect?
Is a perfect creator, I'm sorry, what?
There's a perfect creator that desires everything that's just perfect. How can they desire something imperfect, flawed?
Well, because maybe they want to get to know themselves. Maybe they want to see their own creation. Maybe they love their
creation. They want to get to know them? He's all-knowing.
Can I finish talking here? Okay. Maybe because God loved the world so much that his creation, which rebelled against him, given agency and free will, rebelled against them, then got eternal life, what we actually deserve, and then sent his son on a rescue mission to save us from that. The church is the bride of Christ, will save us from damnation that we deserve. College is far from the bride of America. It's currently scamming the youth of this country and sending them into oblivion.
Didn't answer the question.
I did.
No, you didn't say how we could desire something imperfect.
How well God can
We'll
do
talk about
anything.
that later. Don't
God
worry.
can do anything. So
Oh,